Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today, Women of Color Business Leaders Breaking Barriers. We are so excited to engage in a conversation that is going to be rich, that is going to be inspiring, and share with you who we are as Black business women in today's marketplace. My name is Tina Louise Penn. I am CEO of Club Services here in Southern California. I have a panelist of some amazing women that are going to be joining us in this conversation. I'm going to be introducing them to you. I'm going to have them say a little bit about themselves and then we'll get started. Good morning, good afternoon, Deborah, because you're in Florida. I hope the weather is real good there today. So tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Deborah Postel, Deborah Ingram Postel. I'm the CEO and president of Ingram's Land Development and Acquisition. It's a real estate holdings company, and we build quality, affordable housing developments here in Central Florida.
Thank you, Deborah. Janae Brown, please introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janae Brown. I am the founder and CEO of Open Book Publishing. Open Book Publishing was in conception in 2019, and it's geared to create publications and projects that will enhance and motivate the Black community. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to getting to know more about that this morning and as we move forward in our webinars. Javon Williams.
Hello, everyone. My name is Javon Williams. I am the CEO and founder. I have 3 companies right now. I am a party bus owner. I actually have a real estate company. I have a construction management company, and I am also a podcaster. So I actually co-host a podcast titled Two Chicks in the City.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. And Tracy Swan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Tina. Thank you to everyone who's here. Of course, I'm excited to be here as well. My name is Tracy Swain, and I have 2 companies. My first company is called ETS Consulting Incorporated, and that is a project management and IT services company. And I also own Concept to Action Academy and Coaching. And in that company, I serve as a business growth strategy for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. I also am the co-host of Two Chicks in the City, podcast for entrepreneurs with Javon Williams. So thank you.
Thank you. Cinnamon K, welcome.
Good afternoon to some, good morning to others. I am Cinnamon Key, also known as Naturally Cinnamon. I also have more than one company, but I am here today representing Jamila Wellness. I am the founder and CEO of Jamila Wellness, where women and girls go to be well and live beautifully by way of mental health counseling, life coaching, and mentorship. I'm also an author and a podcaster and will be subscribing to Two Chicks in the City because I am very intrigued. And it's nice to meet everybody.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Farron Pierre.
Hey everyone, my name is Farron Pierre. I am the founder and chief creative officer of Rouge Marketing and Events. We are a marketing and events company based here in South Florida with a focus on brand development and project management.
Thank you, Farron. Mia Wolfray.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon. It's afternoon where I am. My name is Mia. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I actually own 2 businesses, but they kind of do the same thing, just in different locations. The first is the Wesley Center for Behavioral Wellness. We're located in Hiram, Georgia, and we work with financially challenged communities to make sure we're still able to provide mental health services, small groups, and school services for both girls and boys, and in particular, trauma-focused care and groups for survivors of domestic violence. My second business is, actually we just incorporated in Dubai, It is Wolfrey Wesley Global Associates, and we are beginning to do lifestyle coaching, or what we would consider in the US life coaching and mentorship in Dubai. And it is a pleasure to be here with this extremely talented panel of sisters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. And Pam Pendleton.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Pam Pendleton. I'm the CEO of Diva Hustle Radio, where we have an online radio station about bridging the gaps with culture, R&B, and hip hop music. Also, is a podcast where I have Diva Hustle Show, where we give entrepreneurs a platform to discuss their business and free marketing. I'm also the CEO of Nicole Lee, Premium Hair Extensions. Also, and I also have LAXO, which is a multi-purpose plus size clothing line for women. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I look forward to engaging in this conversation. Inside of Women of Color Business Leaders Breaking Barriers, we're going to be taking a look at just a few aspects to get our webinar rolling here. And the first question that I would like to present to our panelists would be, when did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Who would like to begin that conversation?
I would love to start.
Go ahead, Farron. Beautiful.
When growing up, when I first graduated from college, I thought for sure that I wanted to stay in the sports industry. I was a sports management major, and I had fallen in love with philanthropy and sports. So I worked for a number of nonprofits and really enjoyed what I did. In that space, however, I saw that regardless of which route I took, there was not a lot of opportunity for growth within those positions that I held. And I wanted more for myself. But it wasn't until I saw other women other Black women who were entrepreneurs, who were doing their own things. They had their own businesses, and I saw them, for me, would look like to me, paving the way by giving me an example of saying, they did it, why can't I? Like they had the same skill set. They once upon a time were in my position. And seeing other Black women do what they did and do it successfully for long periods of time and have this sense of freedom and happiness within doing it, it was very motivational for me. I'm just going to name drop a couple of Black women who, specifically stand out to me. I saw Yvette Harris. She owns her own business. I saw, I would probably say, the one who really motivated me the most, and I don't know if I've ever told her this, but her name is Wana Jones. We actually had very similar positions because I was at the Overtown Youth Center while she was at the at Honey Shine. And seeing her step out and do her own thing and do it for, really do it. Like I saw her clients, it was very motivational. And I just said, I can do it too.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'd like to jump in on this conversation here. When did I know I wanted to be an entrepreneur? Back in the early 90s, there was a recession very similar to the struggles that are happening today in COVID. And I was in real estate. I had my real estate license. I was selling real estate at that time. And of course, when the recession hit, real estate tanked. So being a new mother, my husband's business was suffering at the time, and he was out looking to do and replace what he had lost. I had to do something very quickly, to pay the mortgage, pay the bills, support my husband, all of that. And my biggest mentor was my mother. She is 95 today, grew her own business in the 60s, very successful. I went to her, she supported me and connected me with one of her clients. Now, what I entered into, ironically, was nothing I never knew about. I knew that my mother did it and became successful. I got into the janitorial business. Now, when I got into the janitorial business, I focused on the commercial. Ladies and audience, there is something humbling about cleaning public toilets. Really humbling, because I had a job to do, and that was pay my bills.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was on top of a building. I started to acquire clients. I managed high rises and shopping centers. I was on top of the building one morning in Hollywood. And I looked out and I could see all of my accounts. It was in that moment that I knew that I can do anything that's put in front of me, that it's not a challenge, it's an opportunity for me to grow inside of what's possible for my family and those who I'm hired. 8 years, I grew my business to 52 employees working in 3 different counties. So it's not the struggle that I noticed I was in, it was the opportunity I noticed I was in, because I was able to engage just from that one client of my mother's to then enter into contracts with some of the largest property management companies and court receiverships here in LA. So from there, I just got real excited and started growing other businesses as well. So that's when I knew, being in that top of that building that morning, and said to myself, I made it. I did this. I created this. So what's next? So that's when I knew that moment. And to this day, I resonate that conversation with myself to say, okay, what else? Who else would like to share?
I would.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No.
Was me first? Look at the 2 therapists. Hey, man.
I know. Gonna win this one.
You're like, no, go ahead, I'm listening.
Right. For me, it goes back, I can remember being about 8 years old, to be very honest with you. I knew when I was in elementary school, a career woman is what I want to be, period, point blank. If I have all the other stuff, great. If I don't, that's a problem. I need this. And that came from being in a multicultural neighborhood. And so I remember being, the little girls on the street would get together to play, and everybody would bring all their dolls. Everybody had a Barbie. We would all bring our Barbies and all the Barbies accessories that we had. And we would make like a whole Barbie neighborhood, village, whatever. So one person, of course, had Barbie and her house, and the other one had Barbie and Ken, and somebody had Barbie and the babies. I had Barbie, the Corvette, and the briefcase. And my Barbie wore pantsuits because my Barbie had to go to work. She had a job to do. She had bills to pay. She had a life to run. Like she had a schedule. She had a secretary, and she had to go somewhere. And I vividly remember being like, I am different from these other girls, because and I think part of that is my Barbie was the only Black Barbie. So for me, my Barbie had to do stuff different. My Barbie had to move different. My Barbie had to dress different. And I didn't realize I was really putting onto my Barbie what I saw in me. And later in life, that no matter what job or career field or major in college or whatever I went through, I always ended up coming back to making business plans, drawing something out, making a list, a bullet point, or whatever. It always went back to creating an organization and a structure, no matter what it was. It could have been organizing the supply closet because I was the receptionist. There was an order, there was a plan, it was all there, and it was color coded, and you're going to follow this system. It was just a whole thing. And so my mom asked me
Yeah.
once, where did you even get this from? And I'm like, what do you mean, where did I get this from? Why didn't you get it? It was your generation, mom and dad, that had to go to college and get the jobs. But my grandparents were entrepreneurs. My grandmother, who didn't have an education, went out into, back in those days, went out into the white people's houses and got their clothes and brought it home. And her and my great aunts had the assembly line to wash, rinse, fold, dry, all of that stuff, package it up and take it back. And I said, that wasn't her job. Those were her clients.
Mm.
So it's in me. And in my opinion, it's in all of us. So who am I to douse that flame? Let that thing out. I kind of say I didn't have a choice. I had to be an entrepreneur. I had to run something, whether it be my household or my business. I had to run it because that's what's in me. So I can remember being 8 years old when I realized I want to run a business.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now, you know what, we could be here all day, right? We can talk about everything that we have experienced. So, and we have a very limited amount of time. So we're going to just kind of move this along with each other and inspire in this conversation. So here's my next question. What has been, from our last question, we're going to just pivot a little. What has been one barrier in launching, perhaps pivoting, maintaining your business as a Black female? Janae, can you chime in on that one?
Sure. So for me, it's really having the audacity to do it. I'm young, right? And I grew up in a household where you had to get a job, and the career that I wanted changed several times because I didn't have a career that my parents thought was lucrative, right? I wanted to dance and be a writer, and they was like, well, how is that going to pay bills? And so to step out on your own without a plan or a system or someone who can lead and guide you has been challenging. Even to say, hey, I need a mentor, and I need a mentor who looks like me, because when I was in college, having the mentor period was great. But now that you're in entrepreneurship, you need someone who could relate to you and give you their personal testimonies and their guidance to how they have overcome barriers that only you will face as a woman of color and also as a female, right? But I have an extra added layer because I'm Black. So how does that look like in the publishing world? How do you make your business lucrative? How do you make books happen and you are able to sell them for your client and for yourself to maintain? So just to have the audacity to do it, even though you have all these other things that are saying go the other way, even though you don't have mentorship, even though this is a passion project at first, right? So to scale that up and to maintain the courage has been my biggest challenge.
I'm going to jump in a little.
Thank you. Love the positive word of audacity about yourself, right?
Absolutely.
How do I have audacity?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Tracy, share with us that inquiry. What was one of the barriers?
I want to add to that a little bit, and I love it. I love what Janae said as well in terms of audacity. I think stepping out is so difficult, and I come from a different perspective, right? I'm a seasoned corporate professional, right? So I was in a corporate environment. I was making good money. So when you step out and leave, not only is your family like, what is it that you're doing? Everyone around you is like, what is it that you're doing and why? How are you going to bring in the money? And how are you going to maintain your lifestyle? Because, right, you've already sort of established a certain way of living at that time point. So what I stepped out to do was based upon the experience that I gained in a corporate environment. And I think that that was a huge challenge, just a huge barrier, just to take that first step and get out there and just kind of do it. I see a lot of people who are in corporate, and I kind of vacillated as well. I worked in corporate and I worked as an entrepreneur for a while, and somehow I was lured back into corporate and then back to entrepreneurship. And for some people that kind of worked, but I knew for me, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but it's really having the confidence in yourself to just step out there and do it. And I think that that was a little bit of a challenge for me because, you know, you hear and you're told to get the experience. So at what point do you feel like you have enough experience to just step out there? You have what you need, and what you don't have will be provided to you to just step out there and do that. So that's a challenge.
Thank you, thank you. Pam.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, girl.
Some of the barriers I just would have to say is that the self-doubt, overcoming self-doubt. I know me as a single mom, as two, you know, I was gambling a lot just by becoming an entrepreneur, just deciding to walk away from my 9 to 5. And, you know, you just have to, I leaned on God and my faith, and he was able to carry me through and open up doors that people was telling me was impossible to open. And to this day, it's just been the sky's just been the limit for me. So I just encourage everybody just to continue, you know, just continue to go after your dreams. And all you got to do is have faith in God and put that first, and he's going to show you the steps that you need to take.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you.
Yes.
Mia, share with us.
My biggest barriers, and I do still struggle with these two things. One is going to be mentorship. I have to say that when I got my master's degree in social work and decided to be a clinical social worker, I purposely chose to work for women of color. And what I found was that, unfortunately, they weren't really into the mentorship part of it. It was strictly, hey, you're an employee. I don't have time to answer your questions. Just do what I need you to do and do it well, or I'm going to fire you. And I don't have a problem with the latter part, right? I wanted to do my job well, and I wanted to keep it. But I also wanted to be mentored by somebody who understood the dynamics of who I was and what type of population I may want to work with, and could just be encouraging. And I found that that really lacked, like there was a huge lack of sisterhood everywhere I went with that. And I still sometimes struggle with that, because now that I've gotten to be, you know, ladies, it's an honor to be here with you guys. I don't consider myself successful in that sense. I love what I do, and I do it because it is God's calling for me. And yeah, I do it pretty well. So I'm proud of myself there. My success comes in being able to provide other women with jobs and letting them do things that they love, and giving them the autonomy a lot of times to make decisions with clients, and, you know, don't go different places in the business as I build it. And I decided that when I started to work for myself, I would be the person who I didn't have before. You know, it was either no one wants to mentor you because they want you to keep working for them. They don't want to mentor you because they're afraid you might be more successful than them. And that's ridiculous, right? Because there's enough money in this pot to go around. Or they just didn't want to be bothered. The truth is that most of the people who mentored me and were my cheerleaders were women not of color, everybody else. So when I started this, I wanted to be everyone else's cheerleader. And I go places and I meet women, female entrepreneurs, and particularly, you know, in the mental health field, and they ask me questions, I answer. There is no charge, there is no competition. And it's always here's my number. Let me know if it's something I can help you with, or if you need something. And so many times I've had people say, you know, you should charge for your consulting. So here is the thing. Black women wanted to charge me for that, and the white ladies who helped me, they didn't. They just wanted to be helpful. And as women, let's not even say women of color, as women, we have to be more about the sisterhood of being women versus the sisterhood of making money. And I want to be better than Cinnamon, and Janae wants to be better than me, and so on and so forth. Like, we don't work together enough. And I still struggle with that, because now when I look for mentorship or I try to partner with people, it's, well, you're already doing this, you don't need my help. Well, you don't know if I need your help or not, because you won't even talk to me.
Right.
Yes.
Great points.
Thank you.
All of that was so good. That was so good.
Hello.
Yeah.
It was so really good. What would it be like, Mia? That was just so profound. Consider what it would be like in the business world if we all moved in the same direction forward, right?
We would be
In
so,
that conversation.
we would be the most powerful. Women would be the most powerful group in women, without a doubt. You know, we move different.
Yes,
We move different. We are
I'm inspired.
more committed than
I
because
think this, I
Go ahead,
think the
Javon.
purpose of where we are right now with writing this book, doing this panel discussion, we are meeting the need that Mia just met.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Where we are engaging and
Yes.
bringing in women and showing women of color, particularly, that we can collaborate together. We can work together. We can grow together. We can build together, and we
Right.
can make some money together.
yes.
It's enough
Yes.
for all of us to have a good
Absolutely.
time and to grow and take care of our families and be at that level on the stage. It's enough room. I'll slide over and let my sister come on in and stand with me as we take on this and succeed all together.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I already see it.
Absolutely.
We all worked. We from what people have said so far, you ladies have said so far, there's already a couple of us that are working together within our own businesses. So that right there is a shining example of what it is that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Deborah, I'd like to present this question to you as well. So what barriers did you come up against launching or pivoting, maintaining your business as a Black female?
Right. If I could go back just a little bit.
Go back a tiny bit.
Yeah, both my parents were entrepreneurs when I was growing up. And even my neighbors, I had neighbors that one owned a grocery store, one owned a gas station. So when I was growing up, that's pretty much all I saw was business owners. So I went away to college and I did what was expected of me. My parents always told us, you know, make sure you get your education, make sure you go into a field that you can help others. And so I did that. So when I came back from school, from college, I opened up a school because that's what my mom did. My dad owned a couple of dry cleaners. My mom owned a school. So once she retired, that's what I did. But one of the obstacles, and there's been a few, when I was growing up, I was always told to be strong. You make sure you are a strong girl. And I saw my mom. She was a very, very strong Black woman. And so, of course, I modeled that, but I find that sometimes it's tough to be strong.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You know, and it could be something that we do in our community. I'm not sure, but I know in my household, I was always told, you can do it, be strong, and you can be a superwoman. But I find that, you know, over time, that becomes a really, really big problem. And it's also a stereotype. I think that we
Yes.
as
Very
Black
much so.
women have, you know, that
Yeah.
strong Black
Yes.
woman thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it's, for me, I think, and maybe for some of you all, it was more of a coping mechanism for me too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know, I modeled what I saw, my mom. But it has been very, very difficult for me. Of course, you have to juggle, you know, family and work
Right.
life. But from the school that I operated a school for 22 years, but now I'm in another field. And the field that I'm in now, it's male dominated. And there's not many people that look like me in my field. So, you know, a lot of times we have to figure out how am I going to get this done? How I'm going to get that done? But I've been able to have a business partner who is white. I mean, let's just put it out there. And even though I'm the owner of the company, a lot of things I have him pitch, you know, because I want things to get approved. So that's another thing, another way I've had to pivot, another thing I've had to figure out, because let's be honest, that's the type of world that we live in, you know?
Yeah.
So that's that, and being that strong woman, those two things have
Yes.
really, really been an obstacle for me.
Can I add? I think that's very powerful. And just in my role as a coach, a business coach, business growth strategist, that's especially one of the things I see, especially amongst Black women. We are so used to being strong. We are not used to being vulnerable or asking for help. And I think that hinders our ability to collaborate properly because we feel like we have to figure it out. And I think all of us probably feel that way. Deborah, you are not alone. I mean, I know I feel like
No, not at all.
Together. So I would just encourage all of us to, all of us who are here, all of us who are listening, to give yourself permission to be vulnerable and ask. And if you are met with someone who is not amenable or not open, be vulnerable again and ask someone else. We just have to get used to being able to ask when we have a question and not sitting here trying to figure it out because we're wasting time. We're getting behind the 8 ball trying to figure it out on our own. People, you know, we talk about men, they figured out collaboration a long time ago.
Yes.
They do. They don't even like each other, right? And they still collaborate. So that's something that you know, I'm so happy that we are able as a group here to do it, but I would also encourage everyone to just think about that because it's we can definitely be strong, but there are times when we have to ask for help as well.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. You know, vulnerability to me has a lot of power in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we can actually be who we are and be honest and ask the questions, go to our mentors, go to our sisters, go to our husbands, go to our whatever, and say, look, I want to talk about this. Because like at the very beginning, when I had mentioned through conversations, what comes up are those moments of, I never looked at it like that before.
Yeah.
Or I didn't think of I didn't see that before. So when we can actually ask for help and reach out, vulnerability becomes very, very, to me, very powerful. Very
Absolutely.
powerful.
Yeah, can I also say
So
vulnerability?
segueing in that conversation. Segueing into
I'm sorry. Vulnerability
Yeah, go ahead.
in business specifically
Yes.
can look a lot like what we're talking about, you know, asking, but it can also look like feeling free enough to delegate to others. And I think that in our strength, we as Black women have become accustomed to doing it all. And so when it comes to now we are in business and we are the CEO and the receptionist and the custodian and the customer service relations and accounts receivable and accounts payable. And we are all the things. Sometimes, listen, I am in love with my virtual assistant, my receptionist. God bless her for everything.
Hello.
Because
You know,
I don't know what I would do without her. You know, just because I had to let some stuff go because I can't do it all. But that meant I had to be vulnerable enough to accept that I can't do it all and trusting enough to let another person do it. And then at the same time, now we're opening the doors to other women of color to be able to stretch their wings and what they got going on. And it becomes a cycle of collaboration and working together and mentoring and delegating and caring for one another and curating an environment that we didn't have, you know, when we were stepping into these spaces. So the vulnerability is definitely, it's a hill. It's a hill to climb.
It's a way of getting out of your own way.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, it has to be.
Who'd like to piggyback on Miss Cinnamon here?
I will. It also,
I think we all do.
It also requires the environment to be vulnerable. Because if you are in corporate America and you're working with C-suite executives, in the role I walked in my shoes, I was a project manager, and I integrated with the C-suite as well as my peers, as well as different teams globally. And sometimes it wasn't to my best interest to be vulnerable. I had to come out and be strong, and I had to project my strength, even though I might not have known all the answers. I might not have delivered all the deliverables. What I found to help resolve some of those issues and build a stronger, I would say, a connection with that group was to deliver quality at all times. So that even in my business, I own a party bus business. I'm delivering qualities to my customers. I am now seeing my customers repeat, coming back to me for business. They're now sharing what they've experienced with their family and with other people. So it's by word of mouth now. But what I found is I used the same lesson that I learned working in corporate America, is that I had to deliver quality at any given time. And once I did that, I was taken seriously, my product was taken seriously, my services was taken seriously, and then I was able to bridge and engage more people that way.
Beautiful. That is perfect. I want to segue into our next conversation, and I would like Pam or Mia to take this on. Share with our audience and with the panel here, why did you decide to push through the barriers that you were up against in not only all of the businesses or perhaps even the corporate environment you might have been in? Share with us what made you decide to push through?
Because failure is never an option.
Yes.
Because I'm a single mother of 4 young men who look up to me and expect me to be great, even when I don't feel like I'm being great, because I wanted to have my work-life balance. And I too have worked in corporate America. I was an HR director of a company for 10 years. And I swear to God, I put in more time than C-suite did. And they're calling me home and they're like, oh, we're going to give you the cell phone, right? You know, for business, but business is not 10 o'clock at night, dude. I'm trying to have, you know, do something.
Exactly.
So for me, it was definitely just, you know what, I have to push through these. I have to find another solution. One of the panelists I saw asked a question about, so how did you ladies overcome what you say your barriers were? Okay, failure's not an option. No means maybe, and yes means do it twice. Like, it's really that. You can't let other people dictate to you what you can do. You know, a lot of times when I see women in my practice and they come in and, you know, they have trauma or they're having issues in relationships or with business, and they're like, well, this person keeps saying this about me or telling people this. I don't let people dictate my story. And we, women of color, have done that for so long. We keep letting other people dictate our story and tell us what we're capable of. I'm not about that life. I can show you, you know, I can be from Missouri or Missouri, however it's pronounced.
Show me.
A lot better than me just telling you or you just telling me. I think that a barrier is not a barrier, it's an opportunity. Failure is an option to do better. Like, it's just like something you weren't good at. I tell my sons, and my oldest son is 28, and if he tries something and he's like, okay, mom, that didn't work, because of course now they want to be entrepreneurs because their mom is, and it's like, you know, I didn't do good at that. That was a complete failure. No, it was something that you tried that you weren't good at. We're our own enemies when it comes to supporting ourselves. And if we try something and it doesn't work, I think it's human nature to feel defeated and just want to either move on to something else or just go back to what we were doing because that's safe. My very last job before I started my own business full time, I was fired from. Because I took too long with the intake with a veteran who was suffering from PTSD and was telling me about how he was sexually assaulted while he was in the military. And they said, you know what? You have 45 minutes to do an intake. You took an hour and a half. What was I supposed to do with him? So you fired me. And that was the best thing that happened to me because it forced me to say, you know what? I can do this and I can do it better. And even though people told me, no, you know, you don't You don't have any clients. How are you going to get clients? Nobody knows who you are. You know what? If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know, and I know everyone's not religious, but God will take care of it. When I started my business, I rented an office from a woman who was below a psychiatrist. I went upstairs to introduce myself and he tried to hire me. And then when I said no, he referred every patient he had to me. 80% of my business comes from a very well-established psychiatrist who's a medical director at a mental health facility in Hiram. The other 30% is, these numbers are probably really off, y'all, is word of mouth and, you know, insurance referrals. But when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I'm not going to sit here and act like you're not going to have problems. You definitely will. You'll run into issues. You'll run into things that make you want to give up, but that's the intent. If it was easy, ladies, everybody would be doing it. We wouldn't
Exactly.
And you'll run into problems anyway.
You run into problems anyway.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mia. I'm going to address a question from our audience very quickly, and then Pam, and Farron, Deborah, I would like to then, before we start to move into our close here. Teresa asked a question: how do we deal with male-dominated industries? Teresa, I'm only going to come from my own experience. Number one, I first had to deal with the 6 inches between my ears, which is how I was thinking. I had to deal with that first. Not to take it upon myself to break through the barrier of how am I going to say it? How am I going to show up? How am I going to look? Are they going to like me? If I get rejected, what's that going to be like? I'm a failure. You know, Mia brought conversation perfect. Failing is just the thing. It is not who I am. I am not a failure. So I had to like actually deal with how I was thinking in any conversation with anybody. And what I broke through for myself is in my business, I became a real good listener. Because when people talk, there's something inside the conversation that they're saying to me that I believe is not truly said. So it's up to me to bring that out. And once I can bring that conversation out, now we've got a conversation to be had that's going to be successful, not only for my client, because that's number one, but it's also going to be for me so that we can both move forward in whatever is on the table. So I just became and started really realizing, just be present to whoever I'm with. Listen to what they're saying so that when I speak, they're actually hearing to what their goal is. Not that I'm surrendering to anything, but I'm able to for me, to move that conversation to the outcomes. Because it's up to me to move it to the outcome. And you know what? Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I have to then look back at myself and say, okay, Tina, what was inside that was missing that I said that didn't move it forward? Not that they didn't like me, not that I was a Black woman, not that anything at that level, but what was it that I could have upped the level of my game to move forward? So Teresa, I hope that answers it. It's only from my perspective, but what I had to deal with and break through the barrier for myself is how I was thinking and coming into that conversation, whoever I was meeting. Because I bring not from an ego part or anything like that, but I do bring an essence of quality. I bring an essence of delivery. I bring an essence is this is about you. I bring that to the space. So I hope that helps. It's just me. Pam, Deborah, Farron, can you add to that?
Well, I know being in the music industry, which is mainly dominated by men, and just being able to have a seat at the table. I mean, to me, I don't see them, honestly, because I show up at my best and I put my first foot first foot forward. So when it comes to men, either whether it's in music, whether it's in fashion, you know, y'all just at the end of the day, y'all have the same qualifications. So you don't even see them, honestly. That's how I look at it. Because once you start acknowledging, then that's the fear in your head. So you don't acknowledge that there's a man that can be dominating the field, because again, that's already the doubt playing in your mind and you're setting you back. So don't even acknowledge it. You just step forward and know that you are the person that can do the job, and you are capable of doing the job just as well as them, and go from there.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yes.
Deborah?
I think that what Pam said is true. That is true. But we have to make sure that we are qualified to begin with. In my industry, again, it's not many women that look like me. So I come across that a lot. But we want to make sure that we are qualified. Sometimes there's a double standard when it comes
Oftentimes.
to us. But making sure, and I can't stress that enough, making sure that we're qualified and that we're also aware of things that, you know, sometimes occurs, and also being a good listener.
Yes, thank you.
I think for me, at least what I've seen, not just from my own experience, or not specifically from my own experience, but just what I've seen in general. And this may rub a few people the wrong way, but I won't apologize for saying it because it's what I see happening. I see a lot of men fail up, and that's not really something that women have the luxury to do. We have to oftentimes be twice as good just to get half as far.
All the time.
And it is something that requires strength. It's something that allows fatigue to set in. But at the end of the day, when we do get to where we are, understand that we deserve to be there, and recognize that it's within you to do what the next person, whatever that person looks like, can do. And just having that, and maybe sometimes even better, and just having that faith in yourself and belief in yourself, and not be let down because someone else either doesn't agree with you or doesn't think that you do it the right way, whatever they feel that may be. Understanding that it's not, whenever you do get shot down, it's not always about you. And it's not always about you being wrong. It could just be about that not being your moment or your opportunity to make the progress that you're trying to make. So I think that, you know, finding your path, being happy with yourself, and recognizing what matters most in your growth and progress is extremely important. You have to stay centered no matter what route you take. And as long as you are remaining centered, then I think regardless of what obstacles come at you, whether it's gender, race, class, anything, you have a better ability to deal with it and handle it yourself.
Thank you, Farron. We've got a question on the panel very quickly because we have 10 minutes. We've got a question from Miss Andre Chambers Robinson, and that question is, what can we do to ensure and support more women of color and represented in our field? It has to start with us, she says, and I agree.
I do too.
And what are our thoughts around that question? Who'd like to address that?
I can start. To the person that asked the question, the sister that asked the question, what we are doing now is a start. We are owning our own businesses. We are founding businesses as well and stepping into areas that are mostly male dominated. What we have to do, someone spoke on this earlier on the panel, we have to reach back and we have to pull other sisters, of other people with us. We don't get here alone. Trust, we are on this panel together and we're supporting each other now. We have to reach back. We have to make it our mandate in our businesses, in our day-to-day, in meetings, we have to extend ourselves and bring someone up front with us. That is the only way we're going to be able to solve some of the issues that we're facing today, is that we feel that we're alone. And we are in an area that we stand alone and we're faced alone and we have to do things alone. But if we bring others to us and mentor them and become mentors, then we are actually bridging the gap on having people and women of color not being there with us. We are doing it ourselves.
I want to piggyback off of
Thank you.
that. I want to
Go ahead,
piggyback
Tracy.
off of what Javon said, and I want, if Mia can jump in with me here, you may see it. I've have a lot of clients, women of color, that have a lot of issues with other women, in or out of business. Just women having issues with women, not being able to navigate the sisterhood, friend relationship, based on so many different factors. It's just so many different variables could go into that. And so and I don't know if I'm just coming from a therapist standpoint on this, but we can't reach back and we can't embrace other women being in our spaces and encourage them to share spaces if we have our own underlying issues with other women. So I would say, get you a therapist, baby. Okay, get you a therapist, get you a coach, get you somebody who can help you with some of the past experiences that you may have had because some stuff gonna come up. Some stuff's gonna come up along the way. A lot of times we reach certain levels or barriers that may cause certain triggers that we may not have known. Oh, I thought I was over that, but maybe I need to revisit that. If you are a person, a woman who has had past experiences with other women that have been negative, that have been hurtful, that have been harmful to your emotional and mental well-being, start there. Because you don't want to bring somebody else into a place where you still hold resentment. Because that's gonna now we're not doing what we're trying to do. So I would say, in addition to all the things we've been saying, also you may have some of your own stuff that you might have to own as well.
And that's like relationship 101. And I think what we fail to realize is that when we have interactions with other women, those are relationships too, and I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm guessing all of us can recount at least one incident of dealing with someone who looked like us, who didn't really treat us well. There was an issue there, didn't like us, didn't want to work with us for whatever reason, whatever. And for the record, it could have been our own fault, right? But I think everyone can recount something like that. I know I can, and I mean, Cynthia hit it right on the head. First of all, everybody know that your therapist has a therapist, trust me. I don't get through my days and taking in the world and my clients and my kids and my mother without needing therapy myself.
Or a good girlfriend.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you. So here's what I would like to do. We've got 5 minutes, ladies, and I first want to thank the audience before we close. I want to thank the audience for giving us their generous time to take out, to listen to this conversation. We invite you back. We will invite you back when we have a newly conversation to really broaden and expand this first one. So here in 3 words, I'm going to go around the whole panel. As we have shared all our stories, and this new book right here behind me that was going to be published, Black, Brilliant, and Beautiful. Share in 3 words to our audience why you decided to participate in sharing your story. 3 words. Deborah.
Oh, let's see. Powerful.
3 words, girl. Yeah.
Still talking to Deborah?
3 words.
Just 3. Okay. Powerful.
We're good. We got 4 minutes. I'll come back. Think of your other 2. Janae.
Honor. Oh, sorry.
Are you done, Deborah? Yeah, good. My 3
words.
Representation, accountability, and narrative.
Uh-huh. Beautiful. Javon.
I would say collaboration, empowerment, and awareness.
Beautiful. Tracy.
I would say impact and
Yes.
just be intentional. Be intentional.
Beautiful. Cinnamon.
Melanin, networking, resilience.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mia.
Narrative, sisterhood, and empowerment.
Pam.
I would say encouragement, empowering, and also a sisterhood.
Farron.
3-word phrase, I would just say energy into ourselves.
Beautiful. I will
Tina.
bring, thank you. Inspirational community. And we all move forward together.
Yes. Yes.
Deborah, give me your last two before we.
I said powerful, honor,
Yes.
and I love sisterhood. I'm sorry, someone said that, but I love that.
Yes.
I thought someone put on the comments, they put integrity.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
integrity.
yeah.
Don't forget integrity.
Integrity.
Yes.
Integrity. Big,
Yes.
big integrity.
Absolutely.
When
Yes.
integrity shows up, ladies, I believe we show up. Our power shows
Absolutely.
up. It's who we are that shows up, everything. Again, thank you, ladies, for inspiring me. Thank you, audience, for your generosity, your listening, everything. We look forward to having you be with us again. Look for our book that's going to be published soon. And may your day be one that you are a blessing to others. And that
Thank
we
you.
can just, be a blessing to others and be open to be blessed.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, ladies.
Peace and
Thank
love,
you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Make it a great day.